That is the part of your emotion that drive your emotions altogether, right? Now, when I'm talking about emotional intelligence, of course, I'm talking about here emotions, but the next keyword is the intelligence. And intelligence keywords is driving by mind, your thoughts, right? So your thoughts and your feelings, because feeling is driven by your emotion and emotion is driven by your situation. So your feeling and your thought all together once combined, that's called the emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence, your feeling and your thoughts when balancing all together with the current situation, that's called the emotional intelligence. Now, when we are talking about emotional intelligence, there are the 4 pillars of the emotional intelligence. Number 1, very important, please write down, self-awareness. Self-awareness is one pillar of the emotional intelligence. Self-awareness, I'm talking about life values first. When you are able to identify your right value, either your value is medium, low, high with the current situation. Let's example, you just got promoted in your organization. How you will feel? Happy, proud, success, right? That's all things is a high right now. All right. What is the low? Demotivation? Low, that movement, because you are not demotivated, right? So that values identification is your self-awareness. So and we call it the self-introspection too, right? So self-awareness is very important. When you are aware how you feeling, of course, very intelligently, you can control your values also. You can control, and if you are able to control your value, you are able to control and drive your emotions too altogether, right? So that is a self-awareness. Second pillar, self-management. What is a self-management? Self-management, now you are aware about how you are feeling, what kind of the values you are carrying, what kind of the feelings is driving your body, your mind. That movement is very easy to make strategy for that better situation. Again, coming on the same example, you got promoted, right? Now you are aware how you are feeling, but now you will have to sustain on that promotion, on that designation, right? For that you will have make better strategy, how I can perform more better in my organization, how I can sustain on this profile for a couple of days or years. That's how you will do the hard work, smart work. That's called the strategic work, called the self-management. How you are managing your values altogether, right? Third, most important, most of the time in our life, we understand ourselves, we manage ourselves, and we think we are good to manage our life, but that's false. No, not at all. Because this society, this life, this emotion is nothing without responsibility of relationship. So relationship management is very important. Now you know who you are, but you are living with your partner, with your parents, with your family, with your children, and you don't know their values. So how you will sync your emotions with them, how you will sync your emotion with your loved one, dear one. And that is the most important, aspect what I'm trying to say. If you are not able to understand emotions, value of your loved one, your partner, your family, it's very difficult to sustain your relationship long term altogether. That's how divorce is going on a lot in these days. Globally, rising the cases of the divorce every day, separation every day. Even the gap between the parents and the children rising a lot every day, due to the lack of expectation, due to the non-synced value between the relationship and yourself too. So you will have to make a bridge between the gap with your self values and your relationship values, right? Fourth pillar, I can't forget about it to talk about, because fourth pillar is really very important. And without fourth pillar, I can say we are not complete. That's called the social responsibility. Now, you are responsible for yourself, you're responsible for your relatives, your relationship, but what about the society? What about the strangers? What about the people? What about the needed people? Humanity, because without humanity, you can't exist on the universe. Humanity is very important. Social responsibility is very important. You are serving for yourself, you are serving for the society, but what about for society? That you don't know. Strangers you need to help, right? Even your friends, those are actually seeking help from your side, you should do that. Unconditional relationship, that's called the social responsibility, where you are not expecting anything from somebody and you're serving them without any delay and with a pure heart. Don't forget about the purity of the relationship, right? So these four pillars are actually the part of your emotional intelligence, and without emotional intelligence, you can't drive your emotion, your situation, and your life. Thank you so much.